Help spread the message. Like our page, follow our page, and share our post.
Alright, well, my name is Miss Stella, Chimthiko. I'm a girl who's born out of a family that's got two boys, Simon and Stephen. Those are my only biological brothers. And I have two parents who are still alive. I have a beautiful daughter by the name Zoe. My education background went like this. I did my primary school at Walani Primary Schools. After that, I went to Joyce Banda Primary Schools. Then after going to these two primary schools, I went to St. Mary's Girls Secondary School in Zomba. I did my secondary school education there, and from Form 1 until Form 4. I left St. Mary's Girls Secondary School, and chances would not allow me to go into the University of Malawi. So I sat down with my parents. It was hard. I was still young and very childish as well at that point. So after sitting down with my parents, it was a very hard decision to make, to say what are we going to do then. So I had a chance of going to the Malawi College of Accountancy, where I'd attempted to do PIKE. So right now it's known as ICAM. So I went to attempt PIKE. After spending 2 years or so at Malawi College of Accountancy, I still had to sit down and say, but well, what am I really doing? I had to see a couple of my friends doing so much well, and I'm this particular person who really wanted to go into the University of Malawi. But as I've said, I was young and yeah, I would say very childish as well. So there was one day during Christmas Eve, I told my parents to say, I have something to say. I have made up my mind. I want to go back to secondary school again. So this was a tough decision for both my parents and me as well to accept. So I had a chance. I went to Nyungwi Girls Secondary School. It's just right in Chiladzuru. So then, like, my parents, it's not like it's just one of those things that they had to decide to say, we are at school, you know. But we had a family that really assisted us very much. So that is the Nampandas. So they had to get me a place at Nyungwi Girls Secondary School. I went there. They were very supportive as a family. They had to cheer on, and my parents also had to cheer on throughout the journey. So I went there. Mending Kabit, I was very serious-minded because this was a second attempt. So I attempted my exams again, MSc exams. Well, I came out nicely with very good points, but still more when I wrote entrance exams, I was left out. I never had the chance to go to the University of Malawi. So at this point, my dream was to become a doctor, a medical doctor. But I believe mulungu amaka kuti ainafe unayense aindi mulungu amaka nawe cholinga chake cheni. So I went back home, we stayed. I was frustrated, I was depressed, up until I got a chance again to go to DMI St. John the Baptist University, where I had to study my Bachelor of Commerce. I did that for 3 years, and I graduated. After my graduation, the journey was not as rough as people say, or as rough as everybody has their own experience. So I also had my own experience. So after completing my education at DMI St. John the Baptist University, I secured a job in Mzuzu. So I went to Mzuzu to work. When I was going in Mzuzu, I had already had time to work. So I had worked for Kazbek Malawi, which is now known as Castel. I've worked for Nico General, and I've also worked for Nissan Malawi, and I've worked for the last job that I had was at Gestetna Limited. After I left, after I went to Mzuzu, I had a number of challenges, but this didn't stop me. I kept on working, and I've said I was young. I was not yet 25 then, so yeah, it was a bit challenging. So in Mzuzu, I was working as an accounts assistant of the branch. So I had my own experiences as well, but the experiences were quite fantastic. I would say they made me grow in one way or the other. And after working at Nissan Malawi, I got a chance to go to Malawi Institute of Management, where I did my Master of Business Administration. So I would love to talk about my personal journey now. That was my education background and whatnot, but then now I should talk about my actual background, my personal journey. So when I was in Mzuzu, I had everything running up and down. I had a proper relationship. So after some time, things didn't work out between us. So I had to move on to another person. After moving on, there was a quick decision that I made. As I've said, this is a personal thing. So I moved on to another person. When I moved on, I found myself pregnant after a few months in the relationship. So this was me now thinking, okay, fine, I'm pregnant. Well, you know, I'm working, but then how do I break this to my parents? So it was a very hard decision to make, but I still had to, because abortion was not an option. So I went back to my parents. My parents stay in Blantyre. When I went there, I mean, I could not just start that way and in the mimba and whatnot. No, I looked at them and the effort that they've been putting in. They've been the best cheerleaders in this world. So it was hard. So I had to gather myself up, and I told my mom. The first person to tell was my mom, and there she was like, oh, Titani, what is the guy saying? So unfortunately we had our differences. Me and the guy had our differences. So this was me now making a personal decision about the child I was holding at this particular moment. So I told myself, I'm going to have this child. I'm going to take it up as a challenge. So it wasn't easy as well for my parents. They are one of those people that have been expecting a lot from me as the only daughter. I had called in and said, "Mafuna mwana wake atamangisa upatuoira, do it the right way." But I did it the other way around. So when I realized, when I told them, well, we had a talk about it. I truly should thank God, because they understood me. They took it positively. Maybe they had their own say. Maybe they would have had their own negative say, but I should thank them. They never had to spit it out to me, like upfront like that. No, it didn't happen that way. So after telling them, we started the whole journey of me being pregnant. So I had a little bit of a drama in my life. So I had to accept it, to say, okay, this is happening. And I started to accept or to embrace what I had. It wasn't easy, as I've said. So I stayed, when I was 3 months old pregnant, I was offered a place at Malawi Institute of Management to go study my master's. So this is me just sitting at home, that's Choka Kumzuzu, and I'm in Blantyre in my parents' house. Ndikafuna chintu, they are there. There was a time I literally remember nafuna kwambiri my watermelons, sina entire my watermelons. My mom and dad had to go around town to fetch for the watermelons. This is one of the things that I really appreciate about them, because I never lacked at 100%. So after everything was done, my dad came with a letter. Dear Agubasa Nimalo, Malawi Institute of Management, to go do your master's. I mean, it was a shocker of my life to say, now, how do I balance up things? It was tough. I was pregnant, so my dad said, you choose. You tell us what you really want. So it was difficult for me to decide, because at this moment I was just like, I think ningo kandi mwana, and then zinazizonika kutsogolo. Then my mom sat down with me, asked me a number of questions to say, Komada baba mwa school libo, don't you feel like it would be positive for you to go? So I have a close friend of mine who I really appreciate throughout my journey. She's been there. She's been my role model at 100%, Rose Chipojola. So I had to call her. Then she was in Taiwan. So I had to call her and ask her to say, Agulu inedindi mimba, but andibanga offer malo kundigabange masters yanga. What do I do? So she said, you know what, Stella, go for it. Don't let it go. So I said, Komandika Bangabwanji, how am I going to perform and being a first-time mother? It was, I mean, difficult. It was a whole of experience. And it wasn't easy for me anyway. So lucky enough, my dad said, okay, fine. Mutagubita school. If you want to go, if you want to make a decision to go, go. So I went to MIM when I was pregnant. At first it was difficult for me putting this photo to school. Being in a class of, our class was also the youngest when I was doing my master's. So it was a bit of a challenge. I would say the biggest challenge came in because literally I would face the father of my child, cross me and do a number of things that where I would say it was physical torture. I didn't, not physical, but emotional torture. So it was hard until I had to find people to talk to. I had to talk to a number of people to say, this is what I'm going through. So they had to encourage me throughout the journey. The first semester I lapsed, I went home, results were out, I did well. The second semester came through, I went to school partly, but then I left because this time around I was heavily pregnant, so I didn't attempt like the second semester of our school, of the school. So this time I was home, then my dad was in Zanga. Priscilla and the noti, Messi and the noti, they would coach me around, tell me what to do. It was tough because there were 6 subjects. At the same time, my parents were very supportive about it. So they were like, okay, fine. Ababa Mungu and the like. So I was studying home. Then time for exams came. So my time for exams were coming up when I was also due. So I had to go to the doctor and say, so what happened? So, I mean, it was kind of a baby's decision, a childish decision, but by the end of the day, I told myself, I'm doing this for my child. And I always say, when I'm doing stuff, I do them for my child. She comes first. So I went, I gave birth. As soon as I gave birth, the following week. So my parents escorted me. Like, we came together in Nilongwe, and they were there in babysitting my baby whilst I was going to class, writing exams, going out. It's not an easy thing for parents to do. So we did that. Semester we came the other semester up to I wrapped up my whole masters. When I wrapped up my masters, I was given a chance to go. I went for an interview at DMI St. John the Baptist University, where I'm currently lecturing. So I lecture at DMI St. John the Baptist University. My subject is strategic management, auditing, and advanced financial accounting at the moment. So when I went back home after being offered the job, it meant I'll be away from my child. So my parents told me, we're going to help you raise a child. So I went in Mangochi to start my job. It wasn't easy that I had to miss my child. So I was like, when I felt like just leaving the job, so we haven't bonded like that with my daughter, but she's one person that calls me mom. She calls Agogo just like that. So I went to Mangochi, and this time around was me making a very big decision to say, what do I want to do? Because this time around I have a child that is looking up to me as a mother. So I made different decisions to say, at this particular point in time, it's just going to be me and my child. So, you know, Zajugondi is really before me at some point. So I got involved in Mutwina that came in to be somebody maybe that showed me love, or I would say that was more or less like Muntodi as in Banga, motivate and the like. And it's not easy. I would say for single mothers, it's not easy for somebody who's not a biological father to a child to come into your life. So unfortunately, things never worked out, but I had to accept it. I had to tell myself to say, if this is not working out, it's not working out. And at the same time, I still had to prioritize my daughter to say, Mwana wanga should always come first. So no matter how much things are going to fail in life, but yeah, you also have a part that you've got to look into deeply and appreciate it, and yeah, just go like, okay, okay. So Nakara, I've been thinking about my life like that. So Kumangoji, I motivate girls. I go out to do girl motivation talks. The reason why I do this is because when I fell pregnant, a lot of people had their own say, and you can't stop them. You can't. But as when you say, I want to do this, I want to follow this path, it works out. So with me, it was a whole different journey, because I mean, people judged me. People still judge me. Yeah. So I reserve myself to say, okay, I'm not going to comment on this, I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to work things out according to how I feel, according to what I feel like it's going to work out for me. So getting back to my personal background, being a single mother has been a challenge. It hasn't been easy for me because I sit down and think, oh well, one day my daughter is gonna ask me, Mommy, Daddy Wanji. So I need to prepare her. I need to the first thing I need to do is to prepare myself to what I'm going to tell her. Not that the father is not around. No, he is around, but maybe he's not there. He's not just in the picture as it is right now. So the most challenge that I see when things happen like this is, the first thing is they do not become supportive. That's the first part about it. They don't become supportive. And now that I'm a parent, I sometimes go like, okay, when I look at my daughter, I go like, how am I going to take it? Not that my parents were good enough not to chase me or anything like that. No, it was also a hard decision on their part. At the same time, people in the society judge women who are single mothers like that to say, why is she single anyway? And there's a saying, I've heard this a lot, to say, hey, komatundo punzira, anabanga ABCD, but then she's a single mother like that. So people are going to start with very good compliments and end up like, Koma alindi mwana. Yes, alindi mwana, that's a decision she made. Like for me, I made up my mind. I made my decision to say, I'm going to raise my child. If anybody jumps into the jet, has to know Gudi Aguera, but he's coming in and taking up a whole lot of a responsibility. There's another package already there. So this particular person has to accept kudipaligari muntu. So I've also met challenges in life whereby like people are going to ask, Koma, at this age, Ana Magumbela, how is it like the whole lecturing journey? My journey is just a beautiful journey because it has helped me to be positive enough. It has helped me to learn people's psychology, to learn how people think, to also appreciate and society. Our generation is kind of I would say a quite complicated generation. It's not fixed as many generations. So in this time, appreciate. I'll have students coming to me, Madam Mapabwanji, Abaditani, and then I get to talk to them to say, okay, this is the journey that I've been through. So I also encourage girls when they're pregnant to say, this is not the end of the world. People think it's the end of the world, or people think they're not going to find somebody that is going to fit in. It's all about finding muntu. It's like a puzzle. So there's only that missing piece to fit in. The puzzle should be just all figured out, So my encouragement or my journey is to encourage girls out there to say, there's always the perfect time. God's time is always perfect. And most of the times when I pray, I always tell myself to say, be still and know that I am God. So Mulungu wantawi is going to give you something, and ama chosa zintu tawi mene agona kuti indi wene agujichosa. People beat themselves. I've bet myself so much to say, but why did this have to happen to me? Or why am I going through this so much? So at one point, I've also reached a point whereby I've had selfish decisions before to say, this is not working out. People blame people who kill themselves, but I've been there. I've always taught myself that, well, I think this is it. This is the end of it. Basi, I should just take away my life. But I realized to say it's a selfish decision on its own, because there are people who are looking up to you, and there's always room for improvement. People who really know me, like who know Stella, family friends that we've had around us, or people who are so connected to my family, are going to look up and say, Muguti, Stella is a lecturer? Oh, you're saying she's doing ABCD? Because that chance was given to me, a second chance was given to me by my parents. And I would love to say this: once you make a mistake in life, you do not have to repeat it again. A repeated mistake is never a mistake. So I'm out here to keep cheering to young girls out there who have lost their path, who have felt like it is in Zaganika, people who have been in relationships and have also been let down in one way or the other. It's not like it's only a one-way thing. Only girls are let down. No, also men are let down by people that they have trusted, by people that they have loved. So, I would love to encourage people, to motivate people to say, God's timing is just the best. Give it time, let it grow. Nature is like a small flower, right? I'm a person who loves flowers, so I grow stuff. When I grow stuff, I watch flowers grow and I say, okay, fine. It's just the same way that blossom out there. So it's the same thing. When things fail, when things don't work out, learn to plant again. Put up a seed in the soil and say, and I expect in one way or the other it's going to blossom. And there's nothing like a perfect human being. We all make mistakes. I mean, mistakes, there's an open room for mistakes, but it does not mean kutima mistakes aja. You should keep on doing them repeatedly. And our society, imabanga overlook and to many alima single mothers kwambiri, but to be a single mother is an independent decision. It comes, like for me it was an independent decision. I had to decide. I had to look at my daughter and say, well, this is my child, so what am I going to do about this daughter? So I told myself, if I'm making a decision to get married, it's also going to be an independent decision. Why is it going to be an independent decision? It's going to be an independent decision because this is a child that is going to come into. There's no way I'm getting back anyway. There's no way I'm getting back to my past. So whatever I'm going through is going to be the future. So I know kuti muntu amene akubwerayo or muntu amene azakhalepoyo is going to be in to make sure that is fitting in, accepting my child and accepting me as well. So people have always asked me to say, Koma Stella, is this you? Yes, because I trust in the Lord. I trust that things are going to work out. And also, when things go wrong, it's right to still work hard, to keep pushing. So when you push, you see the beauty about pushing. So I would encourage young girls out there to say, please, if it's education, go back to school. If it's running a business, I run businesses. At school, where I'm lecturing at DMI St. John the Baptist University in Mangochi, I sell small stuff. At the same time, when people come to me and say, tukufuna matrouser, tukufuna shoes, we want this, I'm going to go out there and fetch for the particular stuff zimene agufuna and deliver. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because by the end of the day, I want to market myself. I want to still, besides what I get, besides my package that I get from work, I still want to work hard to reach an extra mile. Why do I want to reach an extra mile? I want to reach an extra mile because ndama zako as a woman is very important. As a woman, you need to have your own money at all costs. If it's 1 quarter, it's 1 quarter. But as a woman, ndama yako ndio funira wambiri. So yeah, I'm that person who's still going to cheer on to people that have made mistakes. Not that just because I've made mistakes, no, but because I know that mistakes are open. People make mistakes, basi, it's just right there and there. For people that have given up on life, please back up. Get back on the road. Never give up. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. It's not only education that is going to make you shine out there and go like, oh wow, she's this, oh she's got this. No. Even your small businesses, even small cake businesses or mandasi businesses or even kaunjika businesses are going to make you to be a star in one way or the other. And the other thing that I would love to say to women out there, please do not beg to stay. Don't. When you beg to stay, the other party feels like you're in the relationship or wherever you are, you're taken as an option to say, okay, if this doesn't work, or I'll still get back to Stella. Stella is still going to say yes. Don't be an option. Be unique. Be special. Because by the end of the day, it's just between you and God. Maybe between you and your family. But if you would die today and Hamina Makaburi, they are in your life and treating you miserably or doing things that are back and forth, in one way or the other, if you would go missing today, there are those kind of people that would not really take the time kudi adandaule. No. So in this life, the closest people that, if you have parents, those are the closest people. I know it's very difficult to open up to their parents. Like for me, I'm very open to my dad. Okay, so I'm going to tell things to my dad. Well, I do tell things to my mom, and my mom has been the biggest fan, the biggest support system in my life, because she's there taking care of my child. My child has been taking care of them for 2.6 years, just by them, nobody else in the picture. So I really would love to say, I'll thank my parents. I want to thank my parents for the love that they've shown me until today. They've been awesome. There's nothing that I can say. They've been just awesome. They've been the best cheerleaders in this world. So I would say also, for those of you who've got friends, kuma denga zinzako, be able to use more or less like safe, right? Year in, year out, you need to see kudikoda zinzanga, what are they bringing into my life? Are they those kind of people that I'm just gonna go out with them, and whatnot? Have people that are going to invest in you. Everyone is important, yes. Even Antoinette and our social life, those that we play with and the like, everybody is important. But what I would love to say is, have people that you rely on at 100%. People that when you cry are going to be there to say, okay, fine, but how about we work it this way? Or how about we do A, B, C, D for things to work out for us? So yeah, that's the advice that I would spread out there. And for those people who have single mothers and feel like, no, it's the end of the world. No, it's not the end of the world. Embrace that child. Love that child. Nurture that child. Put in the proper seeds in that child. Proper behaviors in that child. Eventually, by and by, you get to see, oh, but this was not a mistake. I think this was something that has taught me lessons. So, like for me, I named my child Zoe because Zoe means moyofa na nago ndi mulungu. My parents named her Teresa. Teresa is a small flower, a beautiful flower. So she's a beautiful flower in the family. Whilst my brothers named her Amara, which means forever loved. So my brothers are there to love her forever. Even if I would go missing, I believe there are those people that are going to be there to keep cheering on. Lastly, I would also thank all those people who have been my role models, who have been there to help me keep pushing, those people who have been positive about everything that I've done. I have people that still push to say, no, Stella, you can do much better than this. You can go an extra mile. I have people that have uprooted me out of situations that maybe by now I would have been saying, oh, no, this was a bad decision. Zimawawa, to especially when mutu is living without a word in your life. Zimapwetika, zimawawa. There are those kind of people that are going to come into your life and feel like everything is just fine. Like you feel like, oh wow, I think ndafika, and all of a sudden you find out the people were, go missing. They make their own decisions by the end of the day, but as human beings, we have to learn to accept the fact that everyone makes their own decision, that by the end of the day, it's good for themselves or it's good for ourselves. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching the program. Until next time.
Help spread the message. Like our page, follow our page, and share our post.